My cat is fucking weird. He is also kind of eared. He is horny, but something else along the other sides of you-know-what. Hello guys, this is Masani So Funny Lent to Anime here, or Masani Amaha So Funny Lent to Anime here. And today, you can see I'm still at my dad's house, which is cool. Today, we're continuing Elf Island, that read-along. I've seen you guys have been at least checking out the videos, which I appreciate, on our way to 1,000 views. It's gonna be great. Without further ado, without all that being said, this is the manga read-along. Okay. Get your popcorn, your snacks. Oh yeah, this is rated R, so viewer discretion advised if you get queasy stomach or have nightmares, some shit like that. Alright. Without further ado, everyone, let's get straight into it. So this is chapter 4. A monster in the lake. Hey Brent, you okay? You look scared, said Elf Janet, as Elf Brent looked at her in sadness as he tugged on his shoulder. But soon after, they kept walking. They found a rocky stone ground with a huge lake. It was at least 12 feet at that, but as Elf Brent sat down still sad, both Elf Janet and Elf Janice sat down with him. Elf Gordon tried to open the door to safety. Are you okay, Brent? Said Elf Janice in worrisome. Yes. Are you? Please tell us. What's wrong? Said Elf Janet as Elf Brent looked at Elf Gordon as he clutched his eyes, or clenched his eyes, as they turned black and red. He stood up in anger, then said, Huh? What's wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong, friend. Gordon said she would kill me if I screwed up. Do you get it yet? Said Elf Brent as he leaned over to Elf Janet and Elf Janice in such anger as his eyes turned green, like back to normal color basically. Also, I have my cat up here. He's I don't know what he's doing. He's just fucking weird. Anyways, he stood up in such relief as both Elf Janet and Elf Janice grabbed onto each other in such fearsome, as their eyes shook in fear. But as Elf Gordon opened the door, both Elf Janet and Elf Janice went over to the door, still holding on to each other. As Elf Brent skipped 4 rocks off in anger onto the water, which made the water bubble. Huh? Oh, you guys opened the door, said Elf Brent as he ran to the door. As Elf Gordon turned around, 16 octopus tentacles came out of the water, as a tentacle had wrapped around both of Brent's legs. He fell to the ground, making his head bleed. As he lifted his head, his gun flipped out of his hands. But as Elf Janet ran to Elf Brent, he screamed, Come out, grandson, and perish this damn monster now! Screamed Elf Brent as his eyes turned red and black. But he shot off the tentacle. He stood up and screamed at the tentacle, which made them freeze in place for 12 seconds. Good! Now run! Run, run! Screamed Elf Gordon as Elf Brent's eyes turned green. Both Elf Janet and Elf Brent made it to the door. But as the door was closing, Elf Janice got dragged into the ground. Well, not into the ground, but she got dragged to the ground by the tentacles and in the water. So basically, she got dragged in the water by the tentacles. As the doors closed, she screamed, holding her arm out. Elf Janice was dead. I mean, you don't think you could survive a fucking octopus, right? Nah, you guys were insane. Anyways, yeah, she was dead. Janice! No! Why? Why? Cried Elf Janet as Elf Brent passed out. Elf Gordon carried him on her back as both Elf Janet and Elf Gordon ran to the exit. They saw a portal that took them to a maze. As Elf Brent flung off of Elf Gordon's back, Elf Gordon landed hardly on her back. Also, Elf Janet landed on the side of her left leg. She broke her leg as she rolled on her belly. Our three heroes were about to face a maze of death before they leave this island. Chapter 4 done. You know, guys, I might be able to cover chapter 5 inside this video too. Alright, so I forgot how short that was, but I'm gonna warn you guys again if you make it this far into the video. This is rated R for blood, gore, etc. If you have a queasy stomach, please do not watch this. Alright, without that being said, chapter 5, The Deadly Maze. My leg! It hurts! Screamed Elf Janet as her leg healed. She was amazed by this effect of being an elf. So she got up and was able to walk. As she stood up, she noticed she had a sword and green hair and a white coat with a white cape with white pants and blue eyes and brown scoots. Huh? Is that you, Janet? You seem different. As I can tell, your entire look is different, said Elf Brent, as he had a knife and a black shirt and gray pants and black shoes and blue hair and green eyes. So basically, he still had his green eyes. He stood up and ran into the maze with Elf Janet, as Elf Gordon was already gone. The hell is this place? It's so cold, said Elf Brent, as Elf Janet walked with him and said, I don't have that answer for you at all. But Gordon, she said to enter this maze and to find her at the graveyard. Where are we gonna find that? Said Elf Janet, as her ears turned normal. So did Brent's. They were back to being humans. But as Brent noticed this, a tree branch flung him to the far left of the path as he fell to the ground. His green eyes turned red and black once more. As he got up, he was bleeding badly from his head. As he raised his hand, he used his power to flung Janet to him. As she landed in his arms, He told her to run as a saw from a bush in the maze had cut him on the belly. His eyes turned back to green, so basically he's normal now. As they both ran, vines were coming out of the ground as they turned into barbed wires with a huge blade that came out of the ground. As Brent ran by Janet, she got flung to the ground by the barbed wires. She was slowly getting dragged to the huge blades. She grabbed the ground, making all of her fingernails. That's where that page stops. Making all of her fingernails fall off. So basically, I mean, you got a lot of blood there. So anyways, making all her fingernails fall off. As they bled, she called for help. As Brent stopped, he turned around and saw Janet getting dragged to her death. So he picked up a chainsaw and ran to Janet. "Hold on, Janet! I'm coming!" screamed Brent as he cut the barbed wires. He fell to the ground as the chainsaw flung out of his left hand. Janet got up and looked up. "Huh? Janet! Huh? Ouch! Ouch! Screamed Janet as she dropped to her knees as her face was leaking blood all over her as from Janet's eyes. Her eyes were cut off as the chainsaw landed on the ground. "Janet, hey, look at me, please," said Brent as he pulled Janet up off her knees. As she looked at Brent, she was sad. "Oh God, no, don't look at me, don't look at me, just leave me," said Janet. "No, I'm not doing that. Janet, we have to be strong. We're leaving together, okay?" said Brent as Janet nodded. Brent put a bandage over Janet's eye sockets to stop the blood. As he put Janet on his back, she began to cry blood, but Brent ran to a portal and entered it. As they came to a graveyard, Brent saw Gordon with black hair, blue eyes, with black shirt and black shoes and black pants. She held out a pistol and pointed it at Brent. "Hello, Brent. Tell me, why do you not want to leave with me?" said Gordon as she cocked the pistol's hammer. You know, basically that little tiny thing that's inside of the sliding. That's the hammer of a pistol. Cocked the pistol's hammer back. "Leave him alone," said eyeless Janet as she struggled to talk. "Should have never have talked, Janet," said Gordon as she shot Janet in the head. Janet slipped off of Brent's back and landed on her back dead. This upsetted Brent. No, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, Brent! I'm gonna fucking kill you, Gordon!" screamed Brent as his eyes turned black and red along with Gordon. As her eyes turned black and red, they ran to each other to fight. Chapter 5, done. Damn. Fuck. Janet is dead? What? Who would have never saw that coming? Fuck. Okay. I don't know how much you guys are attached to these characters. But if you liked Janet's character, you can fucking forget that, because she fucking became gullible after the barbed wire was made. The chainsaw fling out of Brent's hand. And then basically just slit her eyes like that and fell on the ground. And then she fucking, I mean, that part was very messed up. But what can you expect from a great manga horror maker like me? With all seriousness, my Final Destination series will be coming to the channel. I'm working on season 2 right now. If you guys liked this video, I mean, I don't care if you put the like button on it. You don't have to. But subscribe and hit that bell notification. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Damn. Poor Janet.